friends, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at my book haul. I decided that I needed to buy some new books because I have been in a mammoth reading slump recently, and so I decided to treat myself to some new books. So one of my favourite things to do in the summer is to sit outside in the garden with a cozy book and read in the shade because this skin just burns, okay? So I decided to treat myself to some new books, try and get out of this slump, and I wanted to share them with you guys. Before we get into this book haul, if you enjoy it, please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment because it really does help in the YouTube algorithm to get this content pushed out to more book lovers. Let me know what you think. As always open to recommendations. So the first book that I picked up is Stone Blind, Medusa's Story by Natalie Haynes, and this one was longlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction last year in 2023. Ever since I read Circe was my favourite, but also The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller last year, I just fell in love with Greek mythology. Well, I fell in love with the retellings of the Greek mythology, and so when I saw this one I thought, this looks like it's right up my street. So it says, Medusa is the sole mortal in a family of gods. Growing up with her Gorgon sisters, she begins to realise that she is the only one who experiences change, the only one who can be hurt, and her mortal lifespan gives her an urgency that her family will never know. When the sea god Poseidon commits an unforgivable act in the temple of Athene, the goddess takes her revenge where she can, and Medusa is changed forever. Writhing snakes replace her hair, and her gaze now turns any living creature to stone. The power cannot be controlled. Medusa can look at nothing without destroying it. She's condemned to a life of shadows and darkness, until Perseus embarks on a quest to fetch the head of a Gorgon. I'm super excited to read. I think this is going to be my next read. And as with a lot of these kind of retellings, you start to figure out that these women don't, or these goddesses don't become that way for nothing. You know, they're not just evil. There's always a reason, or there's always a reason why they end up the way they end up, and it's normally them paying for the sins of men in their lives. Very excited to read this one. Next up we have The Mother by T M Logan. Now this one is a thriller because I really wanted to make sure that I had kind of different genres. I'm not really a stick to one genre kind of woman, so I chose this one. It says, you wake up, your husband is dead, and you are the prime suspect. Relatable, right? Your children have been taken away, your life sent into free fall, and yet you can barely remember anything about the night you lost everything. 10 years later, you are released from prison. What do? Do you accept your fate, your conviction, and leave your children to be erased by someone else? Or do you stop at nothing to find out the truth about what really happened that night and get your family back? The reviews online said that this is really fast-paced, which is definitely my favourite type of thriller. I do enjoy a slow burn, but I prefer something that moves a little bit quicker. I've never read anything by T M Logan, so looking forward to that. Next up is actually a book that my daughter picked, and that's Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. Apologies for butchering your name. 25 years ago, Maggie Holt and her parents moved into a rambling Victorian estate called Banbury Hall. They spent 3 weeks there before fleeing in the dead of night, an ordeal her father recounted in a spooky memoir that became a worldwide phenomenon. She may be too young to really remember what happened, but Maggie doesn't believe a word of her father's book. Ghosts, after all, don't exist. But now Maggie is back at Banbury Hall and is beginning to believe that there might have been some truth to the fiction. That, either way, someone or something doesn't want her here, and that she might be in danger all over again. So we've got a thriller with a paranormal twist. My 16-year-old picked this one, but I think I'm going to steal it. And, well, steal's the wrong word. I'm going to borrow it to read it. So I will let you guys know whether this one is worth reading or not. Another one that my daughter picked that I don't know whether I'm going to read or not. I don't know whether this is... Oh no, I've just lost her page. I think it was about there. That's where the pages naturally fall open, so we're going to say that she was there. This is Lightlark by Aster. This is a fantasy book. Again, I've never read anything. I actually hadn't even heard of this book. So every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler will die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, betray, even as love complicates everything. I might give this one a try. I'll probably wait until my daughter's finished reading it and then get her review on it as to whether she thinks I will like it. I don't tend to read an awful lot of fantasies. I did read Fourth Wing, which I really enjoyed. So this is a maybe for me. Sticking with the ancient Greek theme, I did mention that I wanted this book a while ago and I finally have it. And how pretty is the hardback cover. Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. Mother, Monarch, Murderer, Magnificent. In case you haven't guessed, I adore books with a strong female lead, which is definitely what we get with the retelling of these ancient Greek stories. You are born to a king but marry a tyrant. You stand helplessly as he sacrifices your child to placate the gods. You watch him wage war on a foreign shore and comfort yourself with violent thoughts of your own. You play the part, fooling enemies who deny you justice. Slowly you plot. You are Clytemnestra. But when the husband who owns you returns in triumph, what then? Acceptance or vengeance? Infamy follows both. So you bide your time and wait until you might force the gods' hands and take revenge. Until you rise. For you understand something that others don't. If power isn't given to you, you have to take it for yourself. And I love this. It says, as for queens, you are either hated or forgotten. She already knows which option suits her best. Isn't that so true? Like when you think of women in power, just over history, you think of kings and there's a fear that follows them, right? But it's a fear in the sense of they're to be respected. You know, you don't want to set them off, so you put your eyes down and you kind of let them do what they do. Whereas with a woman, there's a fear around her, but it's not the same. It's not a respectful fear. It's fear from a position of, we need to get rid of this woman. Between this book, between Clytemnestra and the Medusa story, this will be enough to pull me out of the slump that I have been in. And lastly, I got The Women by Kristen Hannah. Now, I know that The Nightingale was a really popular book. I haven't read it myself, but I saw a lot of people raving about it on YouTube. I chose this one because when I was reading about the story, it kind of gave me, you know, it's like a Pearl Harbor kind of vibe, but focusing on the women who joined the army as nurses, and we're following their journey. So it says, women can be heroes. When 20-year-old nursing student Frances Frankie McGrath hears these unexpected words, it is a revelation. Raised on California's idyllic Coronado Island and sheltered by her conservative parents, she has always prided herself on doing the right thing, being a good girl. But in 1965, the world is changing and she suddenly imagines a different path for her life. When her brother ships out to serve in Vietnam, she impulsively joins the Army Nurse Corps and follows his path. As green and inexperienced as the young men sent to Vietnam to fight, Frankie's overwhelmed by the chaos and destruction of war, as well as the unexpected trauma of coming home to a changed America. Frankie will also discover the true value of female friendship and the heartbreak that love can cause. The Women is a story of one woman who goes to war but shines a light on the story of all women who put themselves in harm's way to help others. And I just thought that sounded like a beautiful summer read. So I am expecting, it's a Sunday Times bestseller, so I'm expecting very good things from this book. I'm expecting tears, I'm expecting love, I'm expecting heartbreak. So those are the books that I have just treated myself to. Some of them will make it into my June reads, and then the rest I think I will spread over summer, along with all the other books that are sitting on my shelf waiting for that moment when they get picked to be read. If you have any recommendations, I would love to hear them. Drop me a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and